Hey, good morning, good New Year's Eve. As I'm recording this, I hope you're having a great day. Yes, that is Herman, the German behind me, for those who can see him. You know, when you have the second largest copper statue in the country in your town, I don't know why people don't use him more for a backdrop. It's awesome. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day, as I said before. And if you clicked on this video because of the thumbnail, you probably have an idea what I'm going to talk about. And yes, it's reflections of 2020, and this video largely has to do with my podcast. The people on the thumbnail were my podcast guests for 2022. I was so blessed to have them as a part of my show. It was so fantastic to meet some of them for the first time, to connect with a few of them for a second or third time, and sadly, to pay tribute to 3 of them who had passed away recently. And as I was approaching this video, I was thinking about what I was going to talk about. And not only am I going to reflect on the podcast, but in my life in general. I'm not going to take a lot of time here, so don't worry. It's not going to be hours and hours of pondering on my part, but I wanted to share something and maybe it'll resonate with you. Now, as you may know, besides having a podcast, I'm also a number of things: a father, a husband, a teacher, and a speaker. That last one, that speaking, is really what's been motivating me to share my message, and actually it motivated me to create the podcast in the first place, because in 2020, when I decided to become a speaker, it was when COVID hit and I couldn't speak. So I needed a platform, and the podcast and YouTube served that purpose wonderfully. I don't think I would be as good of a speaker as I am now if it weren't for the practice I received from doing the podcast, from doing Scar Bearers, and from posting on YouTube. Now, that's not to say I'm a world-class speaker by any means. I'm getting there, but I have a ways to go. But the podcast and YouTube were tools for me. And to that end, they serve their purpose well. As I look toward 2023, I'm looking at gearing more towards the speaking part, because I feel that that's where I could do the greatest amount of service. And so, in terms of the podcast and the YouTube channel, while they have served me in the past, my focus isn't going to be on them nearly as much. That's not to say I'm going to quit, but when I was thinking about at least these last couple months, I felt the pressure of the podcast looming over me. When am I going to get the next guest? What am I going to do if I don't get to have a guest for next week? And all this stuff that I really didn't need. If you are listening to this, you are one of tens of people who've listened to my podcast and YouTube channel. And I appreciate you to no end. I absolutely love you for hanging with me and listening to my stories and others' stories. That said, though, I'm almost 50, a year and a half away from 50, and I've started thinking more about how I'm spending my time. And in terms of time equaling money, if I were to keep focusing so much on the podcast, and in terms of my goals for speaking and teaching and family life, I'll be wasting a lot of money. So when I do find a podcast guest, I'll interview them and I'll put it up as a podcast episode, a YouTube episode. And if I have something to say, like I am now, I'll put that up on the podcast and the YouTube channel. But otherwise, I'm going to focus more on the speaking. And if you have someone to share with me, please let me know. If you want to be on the podcast yourself, let me know. and we'll figure something out. But I'm not going to focus as much on the podcast moving forward. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to think about what in your life can you reframe or repurpose, or maybe even cut away from your life. Because like I said, time is money, and not literally, change money, but it's how you're valuing your time that's important. So take a look at yourself and think about, what can you repurpose, what can you refocus on, or what can you take focus away from to help those other areas. All right, so as always, I greatly love and appreciate you for being here with me, and we'll continue on just in a different way. If you happen to have any needs for my message of the attitude of gratitude, or passing up perfection and going for greatness, please reach out to me at chrisdtgordon.com. You can also email me at chris@chrisdtgordon.com. Check out the website, chrisdtgordon.com, and let's start a conversation about that. But yeah, let's keep in touch. Let's keep helping each other out, keep focusing on the positive and working through the negative and the struggles and the challenges. And also, of course, like, subscribe, share this episode and others that I have. Although I didn't mean to make that sound, sarcastic, but, everyone says it. So I felt I'd just put a little spin on it, my own silly spin. Anyway, I got to finish this run and get back to family time. So you have a great new year. I hope your reflections bring you some clarity for the next 12 months, and we'll see you later. So as I always say, love you. Have a great day. Remember, as always, to pass imperfection and go for greatness.